Hi, I'm Gareth.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and today we have a special update from activists. We are here today with Carolyn Press Mackenzie from HUHA Animal Sanctuary in Wellington, New Zealand. She's an absolute legend, and some of you may have heard of her before. And here at Vegan FTA, we are all about putting sanctuaries in the spotlight, sharing their work, and drumming up some support, because it's never easy running an animal sanctuary.
Especially not this year.
Especially not this year. And we've got a special mission. This isn't something that we normally do, is it?
No, but there's a very special situation going on right now that we really need your help and support with. And so, yeah, we've got Carolyn here to explain what's been going on, and also some of the brilliant work she's been doing at the start of the year too.
Absolutely. Carolyn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I love what you guys do. It's so important.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Of course, here in New Zealand, HUHA Animal Sanctuary is very well known for doing amazing work. And your year, like for many of us, has really been one out of the box, and you've just had some projects on a huge scale. Do you want to begin with how your year started and where?
Well, I guess, yeah, it has been a huge year. So we have 4 animal shelters and a veterinary clinic. And then some op shops. So life as usual is busy for us. But this year, with the Australian bushfires, we decided we wanted to help in some way. So we hopped over the ditch, and we ended up building 3 veterinary triage centres for the Australians to help native wildlife, or actually just wildlife in Australia. We rebuilt some sanctuaries, wombat and koala, and a kangaroo sanctuary, and we also built a roo rehabilitation shelter as well. So it took about 3 months altogether, a lot of hard work, but it was incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, it's so fantastic the work that you guys did, and to take a team out there in order to go help with another country's natural disasters is fantastic. But
yeah, we were so proud to see you guys representing out there.
Yeah, but
every animal matters. So it doesn't matter where it is, if it needs us and if we can help, that's what we'll do. And we love that we can. We're sort of an organisation who think on our feet. We've never worked with roos before, koalas, so I think our success is getting the right people around us and giving them the tools to get the job done. So that's what we do.
You do such an amazing job, and it's funny thinking back to the Australian wildfires, because with this year it's been so eventful with things like the pandemics and such, that it almost feels like it was a couple of years ago to folks like me, you know. And
yeah, your first quarter of the year was spent over in Australia, away from your families. And, we were really looking forward to having you on our activist series to have a full interview and hear all about those months in Australia. But right now we've got something a bit closer to home that, you're dealing with in a big way and have been for some time. And we just really want to get you some help. So perhaps you could explain what's been going on for HUHA next.
It's been a really serious and sad situation. It started with a lot of love and good intention, but basically a small sanctuary that really cares about animals and wanted to do the right thing for bobby calves and for retired milking cows and perhaps any displaced cow that didn't have anywhere to go. Opened their doors, and they were taking in these cows, and everything was going okay. I think perhaps when things were small, but they grew big. And I mean, we all know what it's like to have pressure of, please, can you help? Why can't you help? I need you to help. So I guess when you're a sanctuary or a shelter, it's really important to come up with solutions that aren't always taking. We always say we're helping you help animals, not helping you hoard animals. So I think when you sort of are in a situation where people just keep dumping and running on you, at some point you need to work out, you've either got to grow to capacity so you can handle that, and it takes a lot of work, or you find other solutions, which is working with other shelters, other sanctuaries, finding other solutions, or directly just adopting these animals into pet homes that are not for eating, not for breeding, so they have an amazing life. I think the key thing is to not assume you're the only one who can do it. So in this situation, this sanctuary ended up having 190 animals in their care. And then when we got there, a lot of them were starving. Some of them had died. MPI were involved, there was a lot of talk of destroying animals, and it was basically a very devastating mess. So for the last, I think I've been down in Christchurch 7 weeks now, just trying to get these animals the help they need so that they can go on and have a bright future that was intended for them.
Yeah, for our overseas viewers watching this, MPI is the Ministry of Primary Industries out here in New Zealand, and they're often, come up with the animal agriculture industry, but it's been amazing to see how much they've been able to work with you in trying to resolve this issue. And it's a situation that should never have to happen, but it has happened, and it's fantastic that you guys are down there sorting it out. But
I mean, what it is in a nutshell is 190 cows is the equivalent to a whole herd of dairy cows. If you were a dairy farmer and you had a whole herd of cows that you need to rehome, where on earth would you start, especially ones where you're not allowed to breed them, you're not allowed to eat them, which is exactly as it should be. But it's one hell of a challenge, and it's been a really expensive mission for you. You've already done so well, but what kind of costs have you incurred, and what do you need right now?
I think the biggest challenge through this is it's not just 190 in one paddock or on one property. We've found them over 8 different properties. So, and we're sort of still checking to make sure there aren't any more sort of pops somewhere. But over the 8 properties, each property is about an hour apart. So to feed these animals and to give them the care they need, it's taking sort of 6 to 8 hours a day just for the maintaining and maintenance and care of them. But also we've had to bring in vets. A lot of them hadn't been NATE, which is our local government registration for cattle. They hadn't been NATE registered. They hadn't been vaccinated, drenched. They needed pregnancy testing because sadly there'd been some misinformation with in this little sanctuary had thought that ringing a little bobby calf was actually a cruel thing to do. So they'd not have sex with the boys. So obviously they're big enough now, or it means a year or so later, they're big enough now. There were a lot of pregnancies. There were pregnancies with young animals who weren't able to carry those pregnancies. So we were having to slip calves, which is just something we've never had to do before and didn't really enjoy. But they were not particularly viable anyway, and there was no way their mums could have birthed them. So the whole thing basically was just massive. They all had little horns. MPI instructed us to horn, which is something we've never done before. But for us, the fact that MPI actually gave us the opportunity to step in to a herd that probably would have just been destroyed, we've been kind of balancing our views and our philosophies with respecting their needs as well, so that we're making sure that these animals do go to the homes we want, they stay alive, that we can get them healthy, but we're also respecting that this is not normal. And usually to have a sanctuary come in and rescue a sanctuary when MPI are involved isn't normal. So I guess that this has been a bit of a game changer in New Zealand, and it's been huge. But MPI on a daily basis thank us. They said that even for their staff's mental health, this has been huge, and us coming in have given them another option, one that they've never had before. So that's been pretty cool. We've spent about $40,000 so far, and I'd say we have another 10 or 20 to go. We've raised about 20,000, so we're still a little bit behind. And it does hurt when you're a charity that does everything we do. We're constantly sort of chasing the dollar, as it were, and we're not money-minded people, but it's just so important to have the money to get the tools to get these animals the help they need. So we do need community support, and we do need people to rally, and everyone rallies a little. It makes such a difference. It adds up to a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which is why we're doing this, because we really want to help you. We've got some images to share some of the animals that are involved and how they've been affected these past months up until you stepping in. And yeah, we're doing this because, Carolyn and HUHA, they need help now. These animals need help right now. And at the moment, at the time of filming, we've got about 377,000 followers on Facebook. So if you're watching this, if everyone even had $1 to spare, this could help so much. You would be literally saving the lives and filling the bellies of these beautiful animals. And, as Carolyn said from the start, this is somebody that wanted to do something good. And these cows have still been saved from slaughter. It's just been a bit of a long and bumpy road. And so it's wonderful that you guys at HUHA are around and, just have that drive and
have the know-how to really rescue this situation, because for us, we've been following this situation over the last few weeks as it's developed, and it's been a roller coaster. It really has. For me and Jackie, we went down and we visited the sanctuary. What was it, last year?
Beginning of this year.
Yeah,
January.
So yeah, my year is already mucked up. So, but we visited at the start of the year, and it was so nice to meet the cows there. But we weren't aware of what was really appertaining. So it's
yeah, I mean, we could spend a whole hour just talking about the circumstances, what led to this. We know there was a drought in Canterbury, like you say. There the cows were spread in various locations, so it's made it very hard to manage. So, but we could spend a lot of time talking about that, and I'm sure viewers will be saying, why, how, did this happen? But the important thing is that why we're recording this is to get help for you and the cows now. So that is all that matters, isn't it, really? That's why you're down there.
Yeah, the cows need us. They 100% do. And cows are a big ticket item. Like, everything they need is pricey, but they're so worth it. They make amazing pets. They make amazing companions, but they just need to be looked after really well. And people just need to know what they're getting into, I guess. And when things spiral like this, it's so important to get help early and to understand the situation you're in early. So nothing should ever get this bad and this big. This is off the Richter scale, and it's affected so many people. And the sad thing is too, for us vegans who have this wonderful ideal of how these animals should be loved, this has gone the other way, and it's gone the other way on our shift. So I think it's up to us to get it right and show everyone that we see things that sometimes go wrong, but we do the grafting and we get it right again. And I guess that's what we do at HUHA. We just work hard until the job is done, and we know these animals are safe, but we do need help to do that.
Definitely. And I mean, as well as the cost of feeding them, which you've mentioned is around about $1,000 a day at the moment. Is that right?
It was initially for the first sort of 6 weeks, $1,000 a day. We've actually rehomed the biggest herd now. So we've rehomed 62 now of the 190. And they were the ones that were in the worst situation. And then we're consolidating all the other herds into new paddocks where they've come together and they're being cared for. But we're probably down to, when I say $1,000 a day, that was bringing in big tractors to feed out 5 huge rounds of hay every day to one particular paddock. It was a big task. Now we're down to having smaller tractors and less hay having to go out, but it's still a high maintenance task, and they need care every day. They need checking every day. They still need, some of them still on medication. We've had some with pneumonia. We've had quite a few sad situations that we've had to process through, but we're still probably looking at a good $3,000 or $4,000 a week now, as opposed to the $7,000 or $8,000.
Wow.
It's huge. I mean, it's a big lesson, isn't it? And that it's hard every spring in New Zealand and other countries. You have the bobby calves, the calves that are saved because otherwise they'd be slaughtered at 4 days old. And so this is a mass thing in New Zealand. And the thing is that they start small, but when they grow into great big cows, they can eat a lot. And I mean, it's wonderful that you're it's so encouraging that so many people are coming forward wanting to help adopt these animals. But I mean, even that's not an easy or cheap process, is it? It's not like going to an animal shelter and getting a puppy and just hopping it in the car.
So for every home we find, we talk to them at length about what it means to have these animals as a pet. I mean, I don't even know if pet is the right word, but an animal that they treasure and adore and respect, and that can grow a happy, it can have a happy, healthy life without having a real purpose, I guess. Some people, when your chickens stop laying, they might bang them on the head. Well, these cows, we don't want there to be conditions around them. We just want them to have a good life and be loved. And they are so cathartic. Like, honestly, spending time with a Catholic cow is quite a nice thing. But the people, the quality of homes we're getting has been outstanding. We've had a few stroppy people who want to be able to fatten them up and put them in the freezer, who don't understand our logic or why we do things the way we do, but we just tell them, you do you and we'll do us, and thanks anyway, off you go. But I think for the people who we've chosen, the ones who have got through our adoption process, we'll go to their home and we'll meet them, we'll see their property. We're being really careful that they don't overcommit, that they've got, we're checking that they have the capacity, if there is a drought, to continue to feed with hard feed. These people are really thinking it through. And you know what? Not all of them are vegan. And I know that this will start them on their journey to really understand how amazing these animals are. So it's been, it's kind of nice. I feel like we're putting a little bit of magic all over the country. So these animals, I tell you what, even though they've been neglected, they've been starved, they still absolutely adore people. They've been raised with so much love, and they don't know that the fact they're hungry is someone's fault. They don't know what's happened or why it's happened. They still think people are the bee's knees, and to be able to give that sort of love across the country, and then see them thrive and flourish is just going to be the most amazing experience for all of us.
That's awesome, and it's so positive. I think you raised a great point as well. Obviously you can't just rehome these cows to anybody. They're not animals that you can just have on a postage stamp of garden. And there are a lot of people who will be watching this, or already from the response to your post. Everyone's like, "Oh, I want one." It's not that easy, is it? And this isn't the first time that you've had to step in to help other sanctuaries and people like this.
No, sadly, it seems to be a bit of a trend at the moment for people to become a sanctuary, and I see why they would. I mean, isn't it lovely to care for animals and respect them and sort of spread that word, as it were? But we're also noticing, like through COVID, so I arrived back from the bushfire straight into COVID. I think I arrived the day we went into quarantine, and just being as busy and as I am, I was straight away jumped into this list of 200 small sanctuaries around New Zealand and checked in. My team and I've got an amazing team. We checked in with all of these sanctuaries and shelters to see if everyone was okay and if they needed anything. And I was really amazed that so many of them, just at the beginning of COVID, already they were out of food, already they were panicking, they didn't know how to cope with what to do. And it just made me really aware of that. When you start a sanctuary, you have to almost have a contingency plan. You have to be aware of your responsibilities, and that you can carry this burden. The world's full of crisis at the moment. So when you take in these animals, you have to be prepared and set up that you can succeed, that you're not going to end up being rescued yourself, as in this situation. I fear that there are a lot of sanctuaries in New Zealand who aren't particularly stable. When Jim and I started HUHA, we sat down and had a chat. Either we'd stay small and just be husband and wife loving animals and caring for them, or we'd grow into something that engaged more people and engaged the community support and help. And we decided that we would grow. And so, people always have, how do we do it? But we're really unusual. We've got 20 staff now, which is a big ticket thing. I always thought, gosh, if you were caring for animals, why would you ever want to be paid for it? But the fact is, these people who dedicate their lives to caring deserve to also be able to feed their families and care for them. So we have 20 staff now, and we have people just working around the clock. And I have so much support and so much talent in my team. And I know people see what we do and go, we'd love to do that too, which is great. But to carry that burden without that sort of network support is huge, and it takes years and years and years and years to build. So years of trust and years of effort, and it's doable, but it's not a magic wand. You can't just magically take on heaps of animals and expect to be okay, I think.
Exactly. That's some brilliant advice, and I hope to any of our listeners who have had that pipe dream of having the sanctuary, even we've thought about, it'd be lovely to have pigs and stuff one day, but it's sort of, I hope they take into consideration, just the real impact of it, not just for the animals, but themselves. And if anybody wants to learn more about this whole situation that's currently been going on with the cows, we'll leave the link to the HUHA Facebook page, and there's quite a few posts there if you ever scroll through and want to have a read through. I will say now, if you get angry, if you have an emotional response to this sort of content, please don't engage with hatred, it doesn't solve the issue at all. It doesn't add anything to it.
No.
All we can do is try and focus on the animals and move forward with this. And Carolyn, for people who do want to make a donation, I believe you have PayPal and such on your website.
Oh, yeah, we do. If you go onto our website, there is a donate, like a little tab you can push, and it tells you all the different ways you can donate. Bank account, a text donation, PayPal. I guess a lot of people will be from overseas, so maybe PayPal is the best way to go. But honestly, anything, no matter how small, is gratefully received, because it truly does add up, and it truly does help save lives.
Yeah, so we'll be sure to put that in the link in the description. So if anybody, even if it's as small as 50 cents, if we can get 50 cents from everybody, that will be problem solved, and we can move on to sorting out the next issue. Hopefully, well, hopefully there's no more issues, but hopefully we move on to greater things.
Oh, well, thank you again for what you guys do. Honestly, without education and without everyone coming together, none of us would get all this done. I mean, it's definitely a group effort. And I think sometimes people always say, oh, I don't know how I can help, or I don't know what I can do. I'm just sitting at home, or I've got a busy work life, or just honestly sharing stories and sort of getting the message around that these animals need help, and they need help right now, is huge, because for every time you share, you're just telling your story, and your story needs to be told right now. They need help, and they need you, and they need all of your friends and family to step in too. So don't ever feel like your voice isn't loud enough, because everybody together makes a very, very loud noise.
Absolutely, it's so true. And we know some wonderful vegans in our own sort of circle who for them, donating to a sanctuary that's their form of activism. They're either not confident enough, or they're a bit senior in years, and they think, oh, that's not me. I don't have the confidence to go and protest and do things like that. But they will make a weekly donation to their favorite sanctuary, and that is their form of activism and doing something for the animals. So if you're watching this and not doing that yet, perhaps it would be something that you would like to consider.
Yeah. So once again, I'll have all the links in the description. So if you want to learn more about the story, check out the HUHA Facebook page and have a scroll through, and you'll soon find some of the posts. We'll have the links to the donation. And Jackie has something very important to say, I can tell.
While you're on the HUHA website as well, Carolyn is the author of a fantastic book, autobiography of her early years in animal training and how HUHA came about. It's called Animal Magic. It would make the most amazing Christmas gift to anybody. Everybody needs to read this book. I read it, and it just brings every emotion. And I mean, I know after this year you can write another one, no problem. But honestly, everyone, check out this book. You really need to read this.